It's time for Coffee with the Chicken Ladies, a podcast for people who love chickens.
Hey everybody, and welcome. It's Chrisie&Holly from Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. We're here, and this is episode number 128 of our podcast, where we talk about everything chicken, family, fun, and
more chickens.
More chickens. We drink a ton of coffee. I'm talking a ton. But most importantly,
we hug chickens every day.
And we kiss them too. Don't forget. We brew coffee from a little coffee house in historic Gettysburg, PA. Bantam Coffee Roasters. Holly, and what kind of coffee are we brewing today?
Today we're drinking their Mexican coffee. It was grown in Oaxaca, Mexico, and it has notes of sweet fruit and cocoa.
It does not get any better than this. This coffee is delicious. And if you want to drink it, where do you go?
BantamRoasters.com.
And follow them on their social media, Facebook and Instagram. So, are you ready to sip some coffee and chat?
I am. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We have some exciting news to share from our sponsor, Grubbly Farms. This month, you can receive 30% off if you're a first-time buyer.
I'm a long-time subscriber, and my flock love the healthy, nutritious treats. Orders $40 and more ship free.
If you haven't heard, Grubbly's has a fantastic layer pellet and crumble feed. It's packed with plant and insect protein. It's perfect for those picky chickens and ducks.
This offer does not apply to subscriptions and cannot be combined with any other discounts.
It's a great time to try Grubbly Farms if you haven't yet. Use the code CWTCL30 for 30% off your first purchase. Try it today. Okay, so how are you doing?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm okay. I'm busy, man. Busy.
Oh, yeah. So busy.
It's a pouring down, dreary day here today, but we are busy.
Extremely busy, yeah.
I'm just like sitting here thinking the poor chickens are out there. We got the chicks. They're having some fun.
The chicks are so stinking cute. Oh, they're the cutest batch of chicks. I just love them.
They're adorable. They're running around. They're taking so much of our time, hugging and loving and watching them get bigger.
I just sit there and watch them.
They're adorable to watch. My little hoodans, they love to look up at you from the brooder.
They do. Yeah, they'll stare at people more than, yeah.
They look up and I'm like, maybe these are going to be like my dog chickens. Like the ones that are going to be like
following you around
everywhere I go.
Maybe. The chick that I am most fascinated with right now is my Langshan, Jane Goodall.
Okay.
Jane is bigger than everyone else with these enormous feet, and she is the most placid chick I've ever had. She just hangs out and watches everything.
Here are my chick tales. I have the Hoodans, and I have Margot, who's the Buff Orpington.
Right.
We all have names. We're not going to go into that now. And then I have my 3 silver lace Cochins, which they're pecking everybody. I'm like, you're Cochins. You're not supposed to be doing this.
Don't worry. By the time they grow up, they're going to be the big mellow birds that they usually are.
Well, they're in with Hoodans and a Buff Orpington, so they're feeling pretty big right now.
I am fierce.
They're like, I'm in with a Buff and Hoodans. This is great.
Unstoppable.
I'm like, I just keep thinking of the movie A Christmas Story. Everything's okay unless you get hit in the eye or...
Oh, you'll shoot your eye out, kid?
They're all pecking each other in the eye. I'm like, just stop. For the love of God,
peck your eye out, kid.
That's what they're saying to each other. They're looking at, oh, let me peck your eye out. Don't go over to that food. I'm going to peck your eye out.
It's amazing that, I don't know, they navigate the world in such an interesting way when they're that small.
I love it. And I love when they look up at you. And they just look up and say, I'm right here.
Bring me more food.
Food, please. Love, please. Yeah, so we're chicken thralled right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm scraping out time for the garden here and there. This is, without a doubt, April through the first half of May is the busiest time of year for me, bar none.
Yeah, May is super busy for me.
Today, we get to hang out in the studio for a while.
For a while? Let's talk about like 12 hours in the studio.
For a while. One task at a time.
We'll be working. Okay, so on that note, if you're listening to our show and you're loving it, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a written review. It does amazing things for the growth of our show. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button. It's so easy to do. You never miss an episode, and it's another great way to help us grow.
If you're looking for other ways to support the podcast, you can tell a chicken-loving friend or 2 about the podcast.
Or 5.
You can share your favorite episodes on social media. You can check out our Etsy shop. We have mugs and t-shirts there. You can become a patron of the show. Patreon.com/coffeewiththechickenladies. We have a wonderful group of people there.
Ladies, we love you.
And you can also support the podcast by visiting our show notes and our website, using our affiliate links and discount codes, and buying products from our sponsors.
Yay!
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you like subscription boxes?
Does it have anything to do with chickens?
Of course.
Then yeah. Let me take a minute to tell you about the Chicken Love Box. If you love goodies for your chickens and you need to go to chickenlove.com.
I love the mega box. Tons of useful products for my flock and a chicken tea for me.
You can't go wrong with a chicken tea. They are so cute and so soft.
In the February box, I absolutely love the red iron rooster trivet and the seed block.
I really love that egg timer. It's going to be great when I'm baking. And those chicken stickers are going to be awesome on notes I send out.
Boxes start at $39 a month. They ship immediately after your order, and shipping is always free.
Such a great deal. Don't wait. Get off the nest and click already. Use the code CWTCL50 for 50% off your first box of a 3-month subscription or more. That's chickenlove.com. That's chickenluv.com. Get your subscription today.
Have you heard of Strong Animals Chicken Essentials? They make natural supplements for your flock.
Strong Animals has used plant-based products and natural approaches to promote the health and vitality of backyard flocks. Their products contain organic essential oils, prebiotics, and other natural ingredients to support the immune system and digestive health. Give your chicks and chickens what they need to thrive with Strong Animals health products. Visit getstronganimals.com today.
The Breed Spotlight is brought to you by Murray McMurray Hatchery, defining quality for generations. For over a century, Murray McMurray Hatchery has remained a trusted family-owned business, working tirelessly to ensure our poultry meet the highest standards.
Whether you are an experienced enthusiast or just embarking on the journey, look to McMurray Hatchery for guaranteed quality, rare, and heritage breeds, low minimums, and all the supplies you need to raise your flock. Request a free catalog today. Dun, 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 time. Yeah, did it for the Breed Spotlight, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, my question is, was that a guitar or a banjo?
A banjo.
I just want everyone to know that there is air banjo happening in the studio right now. Air banjo.
It's my Iowa blue. I'm going to Iowa. McMurray Hatchery, I'm coming to see you down there.
With her air banjo. So if you haven't figured it out yet, this week's Breed Spotlight is
the Iowa Blue.
It's a beautiful chicken.
It is, and it's a revisit.
The Iowa Blue is a beautiful and very rare American breed chicken. Where were they developed?
Where do you think? They were developed in Iowa, baby.
In the early 1900s. They have not been APA accepted, but the Iowa Blue Chicken Club is actively working toward the goal.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. Now, they're not classified as a heritage breed by the Livestock Conservancy, though they did study the breed at some point. Essentially, they concluded that the breed's development lacked enough documentation. So the Iowa Blue were ultimately left off of the conservation priority list.
Oh, okay. I hope someday that they make it on there.
It's possible. I mean, I got to tell you, the history of this breed is very, very sparse.
It is. But the thing is, once they get on with the Conservancy, they get some protection and they get counted in the census.
I think you need enough breeders working on the breed to keep it viable.
Okay, so did everybody hear that? We need some more breeders of the Iowa Blue.
So the Iowa Blue is bred to be a dual-purpose bird. As I said, their lineage is almost entirely unknown. There's just very, very little information.
We know they came from Iowa.
We do know that. So there's that. There's something. Apparently, lots of people like to repeat a legend that they're a cross between a white leghorn hen and a pheasant. But this pairing is highly unlikely for several reasons, including the fact that when pheasants and chickens have been crossed, they do not breed true. The offspring is sterile.
I could see that. But on the other hand, as everyone knows, I'm staring at a picture of an Iowa Blue on my computer right now because that's what I do. I see it. I want to see it. That's probably why.
Apparently, they do this jumping thing, this hopping thing that pheasants do as well.
Okay.
But again, pheasant-chicken crosses are sterile, so it is not a pheasant.
Aww, just ruined my whole
dream
of this.
Let go of that fantasy.
No, I know. I don't want to.
So the Iowa Blue Chicken Club website notes that a man named John Lodgson was the originator of the breed. But again, no one is sure what the foundation breeds were that he used.
Okay.
Minorcas, Rhode Island Reds, and White Plymouth are all mentioned on the club website as possibilities. Now, I found a couple of other sources that included the Java as well, which would make sense.
It would, but I don't really see the Java in that.
Okay. But it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, I found zero to back up the claims of the job. I mean,
So I'm right.
if you were a historian doing research on this bird, you probably would have had to do a lot of oral history where you conduct interviews and that becomes your resource for the historical claims.
You go to John down the street in
Right.
Iowa and another man down the street and say, do you have any
Exactly.
ancestors who had this bird and where did they get them from? It would be kind of a fun research assignment.
It would be. The problem is a lot of the people that worked on the early versions of the bird may not be alive.
Yeah.
I mean, when I did my thesis research, I did a lot of oral history work in Scotland. And wow, is that time consuming.
Oh, yeah. And probably hard to understand. It's like,
I didn't have any trouble understanding. I mean, you can always ask someone to explain an idiom.
now when you knocked on the door, was the doorbell always bagpipes?
I didn't knock on any doors. All my interviews were prearranged. Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of Scots who love bagpipes and some who don't. So anyway, we're leaving Scotland and coming back to Iowa. Is that an air bagpipe?
No, that was an air banjo.
More air banjo. There's so much air banjo in this studio today. The Iowa Blue was popular in the U.S. up through like the 1960s. Like a lot of the heritage of rare breeds, Iowa Blue fell out of favor as farms and small hatcheries were replaced by industrialization and the demand for industrial purpose breeds.
Right.
Because this bird does not fit criteria for industrial production.
No way, no how.
No way. The Iowa Blue Chicken Club was founded in 2012 to bring the breed back from endangered status and to pursue APA acceptance. It's a great website, iowabluechickenclub.com. Of course, we'll have it linked in the show notes. Now, they're concentrating on the silver penciled variety for APA acceptance.
That's their big, that's
the most common. Yeah.
Yes, when you look them up, the silver penciled is definitely the one that you're going to see. And they're beautiful.
I think they're really pretty. Now, they're not what you would consider a blue chicken. They don't look blue.
Not at all.
I'm not sure where the name comes from, but it's a great name. There's a silvery colored head on both the males and females. Very pretty. They have beautiful feathers with dark lacing or dark penciling. I would say it's kind of like charcoal. They have a very distinct tail. It's an upright fantail, and it's supposed to be a hallmark of a purely bred Iowa Blue.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful. They're really unusual chickens. I really like them.
So let's look over some of their body characteristics. They have a single, moderately sized comb, red faces. Red comb's always good. They're
Yes.
always red.
Yes.
That's the point. Dark eyes and slate color legs. They're medium sized with the roosters weighing in at about 7 and the hens at about 6.
6 pounds.
Yeah, 6 pounds. I mean, that is definitely the definition of a medium-sized bird,
yeah,
for
medium-sized
sure.
bird, yeah.
And there are a handful of different color variants. Let's go over them now. Silver penciled and
Birchen
are the two most common.
The Birchen's really pretty. Now, the Birchen, and I didn't realize this until I looked it up, the Birchen was developed by backbreeding Iowa Blue hens to black leghorns and Egyptian Fayumis.
When you say Fayumis, I can see that in them.
Right?
Yes, because everybody
Frankly.
knows I was just at Holly's house the other day getting our chicks, right? So I always go and visit your chickens every
Yes.
time at your house, just kind of the same as when you're here, you visit the
Get
chickens.
back and see everybody.
It's like seeing my nieces and nephews over there. So I have to always go look at these Fayumis because they're so different looking, but they remind me of this hen.
Now, here's the thing, though, because I think the same thing. But you're looking at the silver pencil, and they remind you of the Fayumis. So I think both. This is just my theory. There's no way to substantiate this. I think there's Fayumi in both of these color varieties. That's that upright tail.
There could
The
be.
silver. I
could
think
be.
they look very Fayumi.
Even their eyes, to be honest with you,
Yes,
have that
those
same
big
like
dark eyes.
that kind of crazy look to them that I'm going to
Are you
jump.
saying my girls got the crazy eyes? They kind of do, actually. But here's the thing. Okay, so we know the Iowa Blue, they started working on it in the 20s. But here's the thing. The Fayumis were in the U.S. in the 1940s.
Okay.
And they were at the University of Iowa.
Yeah.
Because the dean of the University of Iowa brought hatching eggs for Fayumis back from a trip to Egypt.
That's who they really remind me of.
I think if you did DNA testing on the Iowa Blue,
I'm going to
you
do
might
it.
you might find a big dose of Fayumi in there.
I'm going to do it just to find that.
Where are you going to find one to get the DNA
I
from?
don't know. I'm on a mission here.
If anyone out there has Iowa Blues, please send us a selection of feathers for DNA testing.
If you have an Iowa Blue, get your cotton swab. Swab the inside of their mouth.
I think all you need is a feather. I don't think you need saliva. Besides, I wouldn't want to open a
Get a cheek swab. Get a cheek
Oh
swab.
my God.
And send it to us because
Yes.
we want to find Fayumis in this chicken.
It would be really funny, wouldn't it, if this great American chicken from the middle America has got the Egyptian Fayumi in it?
It's from Egypt, man.
But I see them. I do. And the Fayumis were here and they were in Iowa.
You
Anyway,
really can see it
you
in these
can.
pictures when you're looking. And that's the one thing, if you can, while you're listening to Breed Spotlight, look at the birds we're talking about because it helps you really picture what we're saying.
Right.
Because we look at the birds as we're talking about them too. So let's go over egg laying
Uh-huh.
because that's the other big thing. They lay cream-colored eggs, Fayumi.
Yep.
And anywhere from 150 to about 200. So they're on the okay laying ability.
I'd say 200 is pretty good.
200 is pretty good. I mean,
Fayumi-
150,
Fayumis are good layers.
they are. They are good layers.
And so were some of the other breeds that were some Minorcas and Leghorns.
oh, yeah, for sure. So the hens will go broody and hatch a clutch for you. So know that. They are a broody breed.
And that's great if you're mostly off grid. You know, you're trying to lower your electrical use.
That is
Or
definitely
if
good.
you're just doing the whole homestead thing with broody hens.
And you're hatching yourself. Now,
Yeah.
if you're me, you get a broody hen, you're like, oh, no. I'm going out there day one. I got
Yeah.
to get this broody to stop.
No, I know.
So, yeah, no, if you want a broody hen, this might be a bird for you.
Yeah.
Iowa Blue. So, great birds for a homestead or a small farm.
Excellent foragers. Excellent. Now, one of their claim to fames for the roosters, the Iowa Blue roosters are reputed to be excellent defenders, especially against hawks. I see that, but Lord, I would not want to put that to the test. I do not want my cockerel getting torn up by a hawk.
I never want to see a rooster having to fight somebody off. I
No.
know that that's instilled in them, like genetically, it's put in them to defend, but that is not what I want to see.
No, I would like a rooster who's reactive, and when he sees a shadow or, you know, his eyes on the skies and he sees a bird of prey will give the alarm.
Right.
That's really useful to me. I don't want my rooster to die on the field fighting a hawk. I want him to take his ladies undercover.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want my rooster to do.
He could be a lover, not a fighter.
I like it. I'm all for
like
that.
it a lot.
That's right. I like that a lot.
So they're also reputed to be pretty calm and friendly in the same respect. So they're fighters for their hens, but they're pretty calm and friendly with you. So it's a good combo.
This is what I saw in a couple of places. A lot of the hens that go broody do tend to be like these big placid girls with a sweet personality.
Yeah.
They're also great in the garden. I mean, this is a bird that you can let free range and turn over your compost, supervised free range, so that you're not having hawk battle
So
101 out
Rooster's not trying to battle every hawk in the town.
there. Right.
And they're known to be heat and cold tolerant. So they're a good bird in the middle, wherever you are.
Right. If you
So-
have blazing hot summers and cold winters, this is a good bird for it. With the caveat that some birds need fans and some birds need heaters.
Yeah, just know that you're going to need that in every situation.
Right.
So, like I said before, both hens and roosters are calm and friendly and seem to get along well with each other.
That's what we've heard. I've never laid eyes on an Iowa Blue in real life.
Me either.
So I'm just going by what I could find and collect from people.
Yeah.
Now, feathersite.com had this note. The silver pencil birds are subject to laryngotracheitis, and they speculate possibly due to inbreeding.
Ooh.
There is an immunization for laryngotracheitis, though.
Okay.
So I would imagine if you use a combination of the vaccine and some selective breeding, you might be able to breed that out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about where you're going to get this Iowa Blue chicken. If you must have the Iowa Blue or you're like, this chicken has to be in my flock, where are we going to go?
If they were readily available and in front of me, I'd probably grab some.
Yes, because they could go with...
The Fayumis?
Yes! Okay, so Sandhill Preservation Center has been instrumental in bringing this breed into the 21st century.
Yeah,
Instrumental.
Yeah, and they do offer straight run breeding stock. So this is new on the Iowa Blue Chicken Club's website when I went back to visit. They have a link on the front page for hatching eggs that are available from Continued Traditions Farmstead. So you can have eggs shipped to you.
I saw too, when I looked them up online, there's people selling them. You know?
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is one that if you do a little research or you look around, you may be able to find this bird and add it to your flock. I mean, make an awesome homestead and have a bird that's not out there for everybody. You're going to have a rare bird.
I think they're very pretty. Their penciling reminds me of the dark Brahmas and those beautiful silver pencil rocks, Plymouth rocks.
Yeah, for sure. So if you have the Iowa Blue, you know what I'm about to say. Flood our Instagram, DM me your pictures, and I will give you a story. We want to see every day when we drop, we want to see the bird that we talk about plastered on our stories. So send us your pictures, especially if you have this Iowa Blue. Send us your pictures. We would love to see them.
And Chrissy will play air banjo for you.
Oh, yeah. I'll do a video. I'll be like, dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
If you're looking for a chicken coop that's produced in a planet-friendly, sustainable way, try Nestera.
Each coop is made from highly durable, 100% recycled plastic that keeps the equivalent of up to 2,000 shampoo bottles out of a landfill.
Their clean, modern design will fit into any garden or run area and comes with an industry-beating 25-year warranty and a range of handy accessories.
Simple to put together, so quick and easy to clean, and most importantly, red mite resistant. Your chickens will love it.
Quick shipping from Nestera.us.
For a 5% discount, use the affiliate link in our show notes, on our website, and on Instagram. Link in bio. Check them out today. Roosty's proudly sponsors Coffee with the Chicken Ladies.
We personally use Roosty's products with our chickens, and we're huge fans.
They have their awesome nesting pads, do-it-yourself feeder and waterer kits, and they've just released their best product ever, a new chick feeder and waterer set.
They have adjustable legs to keep food and water clean. They're super well made, and the feeder even has a removable lid so it can easily be filled from the top.
So if you're raising chicks or keeping chickens, all their products are available for Prime delivery on Amazon.com.
Check out the Roosty store on Amazon or follow the link in our show notes.
Okay, so you ready to move on to main topic? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just us for the main topic this week.
How about that?
We're just at the table talking.
Wowie.
And we figured our chicks are here. This would be a perfect time to talk about your chicks are here. Now what?
Well, we actually came up with this topic in response to the 1,001 questions we've gotten from new chicken people.
And 1,001 clicks on our article for stressed chicks and what to do to help them.
Right.
So we know there's a need to talk about this.
Yes. Chicks can become easily stressed in shipping. Most of the time when you have chicks shipped to you, they arrive hale and hearty. But every now and again, you'll get one that was stressed in shipping.
I feel like it's more than every now and then. Sometimes there's always going to be maybe one that's a little weaker than everybody else.
I think that's true. And I should actually rephrase that because I'm talking about a lifetime of having chicks shipped. In the past 2 or 3 years, the incidence of chicks stressed in shipping has gone way up.
Yeah.
From probably the sheer number of chicks being shipped. And honestly, I hate to say it, but carelessness at the post office.
Yeah. I feel like the post office, and this is coming from someone who has 2 parents who worked in the United States Post Office as mail carriers. And they both have talked to me about how they've handled live animal chicks, like so careful. But you do have a lot of people in there that just don't care. And these boxes are little and they're throwing.
Yeah, and I guess that's not the frontline postal workers. That's the people behind the scenes who are doing the shipping, loading and unloading trucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to worry about. And I think that's why the shipping stress is much higher, because even our chicks, we had 14 chickens shipped to us. They were still in a very small box.
Right.
And that box is getting tossed and tumbled more than we were talking about this the other day. When the small feed stores do get like their big deliveries in of 50 plus chickens,
right?
Those boxes are bigger. They're harder to toss.
It's true.
So the smaller deliveries, they're the ones to the average person to their home. You're going to see more stress in your chick.
Yeah. So one of my coachins was favoring her leg a little bit. And we're not sure if it was a little bit of splay leg. We're not sure what was going on there, but we put a hobble on her. 2 days later, she's absolutely fine.
Yeah. And one of my little houdans is a little slower. So sometimes that stress, they need a few days of a little intensive nursing.
Also, some breeds are a little more fragile for shipping.
The houdans, for one thing.
Don't take the stress as well. So if you're looking for our article, go to coffeewiththechickenladies.com. It's under our articles tab. It is tips for helping shipping stressed chicks. And we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff right now.
Yes. So number one thing, the day that you're expecting your chicks to come, you need that brooder set up and ready to go with the proper temperature.
Absolutely.
You want your heat lamp on a few hours beforehand, your brooder, everything that you're going to use, wherever, just a brooder and a heat lamp or just a brooder plate, whatever you're going to use needs to be up and on in operation.
One of the leading causes of chick death is hypothermia.
Yep.
A lot of people don't even realize it's hypothermia. They'll just say they all died and I don't know why. But it's almost always hypothermia. Chicks need heat 24 hours a day when they're young. They need heat at a bare minimum until they are 8 weeks old. That's at a minimum.
Keep in mind, right now, when you receive a 2-day-old chick, they have down feathers.
That's right.
That is it.
No insulation.
No insulation. So it's basically like if you were shipped naked and
Pretty
popped out of a
much.
box.
Maybe like with a paper thin cotton robe on.
A loincloth.
That's getting a little...
And you jumped out and said, I'm here. Would you want to be heated? Yes, yes, yes. Keep in mind, they need this heat. 95 degrees is about where it should be when you're putting them in right after being shipped.
Exactly right. That's your first week. If you put the chick in your hand, you can feel their feet.
Yeah.
And it's not always 100% the case that a hypothermic chick has cold feet, but it's a big indicator.
Yeah.
So you can also give them a gentle blow dry
Yes.
with your hand next to them to make sure it doesn't get too hot.
Keeping the blow dryer back a little further
Right.
on the lowest setting.
And then you can tuck them in the brooder and they're usually ready to go. We've said heat lamp a couple times because guess what?
We use them.
We use them.
And the thing is, yes, they can be a fire risk. We know this. But the brooder plate is not enough if they're in a garage that's not heated.
Exactly right.
And that's where we keep our chicks.
Brooder plates were invented to be used in a heated space.
Correct.
And I feel like this information doesn't get out there enough. A lot of times a brooder plate is not warm enough for your chicks.
Especially not after being shipped.
Right.
That's why we say to you all the time, you need a heat lamp on hand for the day that those chickens are going to be shipped.
Are heat lamps a fire hazard? Yes, if you're careless, they absolutely are.
Yes, they
You
are.
have to be meticulous with them. But we have found with our chicks that gives us the greatest chance of having healthy, thriving chicks that will go on to live a long life.
Right. So we use them both in conjunction with each other the first few weeks. And then when they're older and they're getting more of their own feathers, then we go strictly to the brooder plate.
Right. Now, if you're using a heat lamp, you're going to raise it 5 degrees every week.
Right.
95 the first week, 90 the next week, and so on, and lower them. At about 8 weeks, I generally have a brooder plate in and a heat lamp out, and I'll put a cozy coop heater in there for extra warmth, and they really like that as well.
Exactly. You can take that heat lamp out all the way. That is for first few weeks. It's essential.
It's a fire hazard. It is dangerous. It is. You cannot be careless. You have to be meticulous about it. But in some cases, it's the difference between your chicks living and dying.
Okay, so let's move on. You have everything set up.
Yep.
We always say you need to make sure you have bedding in your brooder.
Right.
We do use pine shavings. There's many different things you can use. There's pine shavings. There's hemp bedding.
Right.
There's different things that you can use, but you cannot have them on something slippery.
No, that's a way to get splay leg and spraddle leg starting from healthy chicks because they can't get their feet straight under them and they slip.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster.
They need something cushiony that's soft. And it actually, the bedding brings in another level of warmth to them. It insulates the brooder.
It's warm, it's comfortable, and like they'll cover their own poop in the course of just running around. A lot of people will use shelf liners, and I have that on hand actually because I use it for wool felting, but I feel like they spread poop everywhere.
They're going to step in it.
There's
the
nothing
pine shavings
There's
cover
nothing
it.
absorbent. I will always go with pine shavings, although I do agree with you. Hemp makes a really nice brooder bedding as well.
Yeah, exactly. You just need something in there cushiony. So you have everything set up. You have something down for them. Food, water, and nutrition are your number one thing that you're going to be thinking about
Basic
that day.
building blocks of chick care.
Yeah, they're there. You need to make sure they're eating and drinking.
You always want to have good quality chick food available and clean fresh water 24 hours a day.
When they first get there, you need to dip their little beaks in their water and their food because you have to play mom.
Right.
You have to show them where the food and water is. They're not going to instinctually just go to the food and water. A gentle dip of their beaks in both to show them where they are is essential because you want them eating as soon as they can once they're shipped to you.
Now, just an aside, I dipped little Margot the Buff Orpington's beak in the water. I did not have to show her where the food was. She made a beeline for the feeder and started to jump in.
She is so hilarious.
She's funny.
I love her to pieces already. She has not stopped eating since she got here from McMurray. She's an eating machine.
Well, that's what you want to see from your chicks. I mean, some of them need to sleep and they need to rest, but before too long, you should see them all eating and drinking. And you definitely want to keep an eye on anyone who is not eating and drinking within the first hour or so.
Right. And then after the first hour or so, you're going to want to watch them and make sure. I love a chick that overeats because I'm not worried about that chick at all.
Right.
A chick that is sleeping more than eating is worrisome.
Right.
So there are a few things that we do if that starts to happen. And these are essential. So listen
Right.
up to these.
So we'll use a drop of Nutri-Drench.
I always say to have tuberculin syringes on hand.
That's a 1 cc syringe. It's divided in
tenths.
points. Yeah.
So the whole syringe is 1 cc
Right.
and it's divided into tenths. So it's 0.1, 0.2, all the way up. Now, Nutri-Drench, you can draw it up and give a few drops from 0.1.
Just a drop or two is all you need to give
in
a
the
chick.
beak, on the side.
You can also put a drop or two in their water,
Yes.
and they can all get the benefit of it.
Right. And then the next thing is polyvisol. That's the other vitamin that we've taled about quite often.
Nutri-Drench has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it, but the reason we go with the polyvisol is because it has more vitamins and minerals and more of the vitamins and minerals
that they need.
than Nutri-Drench. Right. And so if you're dealing with a chick that maybe was born with a vitamin and mineral deficiency, or maybe is just not flourishing due to the stress, that boost of vitamins from the polyvisol is instrumental. I can't tell you how many chicks I've used it on that just have gone on to flourish.
It helps. Then we have the add-ins to the water.
Right.
We've talked about this in previous weeks. We talked to Annie over at Strong Animal Chicken Essentials.
Right.
They have the electrolytes with the vitamins. These things are really important to put in the water when they first get there. Electrolytes and vitamins, that's what you want in the water.
So you can get the little envelopes if you want. You can get the
Save a Chick.
Save a Chick makes them, and Strong Animals makes them, and they're just great to have on hand. Usually one packet goes into a gallon of water, and you can use that to refill.
The first time you set up the water, you want it to have electrolytes and vitamins. This is not something that you're going to do forever. So for the first few days that you have them, you're going to make sure the electrolytes are in there. And then you can use something like Chick Elixir Daily that's going to give them a vitamin boost.
Right. You always want to check the instructions on any additives you're using. They will tell you exactly how long it is safe to use them.
Definitely always check those instructions. Okay, so once your chicks have settled, they're going to be exploring, and you just want to make sure they're exploring, eating, drinking,
Right.
and sleeping not too much. These are the only things you're going to be concerned about the first few days.
Exactly. A healthy, thriving chick is going to be bright-eyed, and you're going to see them darting around. I said that we put a hobble on our Blue Coach in Indigo.
Yeah.
Well, she only needed it on for about 2 days, and then she was zooming.
Yes.
And we knew that she was doing well. We took the hobble off.
And sometimes what can happen is in transit and shipping, they're stuck in one place
Well, I
for a
think
very
that's-
long time.
I think that's what happened to her.
And then
she
her
got a
leg
little-
got stuck.
She got a little leg strain. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So there are we can probably do a whole episode on splay leg or spraddle leg. People use different names for it. But yeah, in this case, I agree with you. I think it was just a minor shipping injury or something like that. And she's doing great now. You'll see your chicks at the food and water. You'll see them interacting with the other chicks. All of this is normal.
Pecking their eyes.
And yeah, they do. It's amazing. They'll pull feathers. They'll pick each other's
So
toes.
here's the thing. Fifi is one of my little houdans, my French houdans, and she was one that's a little slower. So she's been getting, a little bit of extra care. But the other day, we have the brooder plate in there, the Titan. All the chicks are on top, and one by one, she didn't just peck their toe. She pulled them off by the toe.
Wow.
I'm like, you're feeling good now.
She's frisky.
She's feeling frisky.
Another thing, and do not be embarrassed if you have asked this question, because if you're a new chicken owner, you will not know this unless you ask or you've read it. That lump on the front of their chest is normal. It's their baby crop.
It's their crop, so it's the equivalent of our stomach, but it's on the outside for them.
And we're not laughing at you. We're laughing actually because it's the cutest thing ever when they get a fat little crop on them.
And you want to see a fat little crop.
Yes.
That's what you want to see. You don't want to see flatness. That's when you're going to be jumping in for some intervention.
Right.
So here's the other thing to remember. Chicks grow very quickly.
Very.
You're going to start seeing little wing feathers sprouting within the first 3 to 4 days, tail feathers at a week. And by the time they're at a month, they're going to be that awkward teenage kind of phase where they're just like,
You're starting to see big feathers coming in. Now, the adult-looking feathers they grow at a month, they're still going to molt those out.
Yeah.
Those first 3 or 4 months, they produce so many feathers and molt through a couple of cycles. It's kind of amazing how many feathers they have coming through.
And when you think about it, that's why chick food is so high in protein.
Absolutely.
They need that because they're growing so quickly and they're growing feathers at a rapid pace that they need it. I get sad when those little down feathers are like popping out. I'm like, oh, the babies are going. Oh my goodness, you're going to be an awkward teenager. I already have 2 awkward teenagers in my house.
Geez. I'm always excited to see what they look like when they're grown up.
Yeah, the houdans I'm so excited to see as they go. I want that
they're-
crest.
They are so stinking cute.
So yeah, just keep an eye on that. Now, we're going to just touch briefly on a chick first aid kit here because we think that you need it and you needed to have it ready by the day that they're going to be shipped to you.
Exactly. Now, we are going to put this on the website under the articles tab, so it's always there if you want it for reference.
These are the things that we have that are, for us, a must.
For us, these are non-negotiables.
And we use them. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so NutriDrench, anybody who messages us and says something's going on with their chicken or chick, you're going to hear us say you need to give NutriDrench immediately. This vitamin supplement is above and beyond the best.
Yeah, it's one you don't want to overuse. Again, you want to follow the instructions for it.
For an adult chicken, it's 1 cc per day. For a chick, it's about 0.1 or a drop in the mouth.
Right. And it's really great because it is absorbed through their mouth and their crop.
Exactly.
And it gives them the vitamins and electrolytes and things they need.
It also has a little bit of molasses in it, which has a little bit of the sugar in it.
Right.
So it might give them a little pep up.
A little bit of energy
from the travel. The other thing is
polyvisol.
Now, if you joined Andrea over at Chicken Love Box, the March box had a bottle of this in it.
And I cracked it open.
And it's amazing. Andrea, that was the best thing you could have put in there
Absolutely.
for that time. And this is a must. You have to have this, you should, before your chicks because you don't want to be running around. It's not the easiest to find.
We've both had to do like midnight runs for it, and it's not good.
It's not good. Last year for Clover, Joe went to 7 stores in the rain, but he came home with it.
That's what Pete and I did. Oh,
yeah.
And that was for Ricardo Montalban.
So that won't happen again.
Yeah, no. We always have it on. And it's not the cheapest thing. It's not, but it will save your chicks.
Yeah.
If you need it, you need it.
Polyvisol without iron.
Without iron, that's right. Electrolytes.
A must.
Electrolytes. We should just expand that and say electrolytes and probiotics because they can really help with the baby.
Yes, for sure.
Rubber bands or hair elastics for hobbles for splay leg chicks.
Which you needed.
Yes. I've never used it before, but guess what? I had them.
Yeah.
They were there.
Okay, so I talked about this before. 1 cc TB, they're called tuberculin syringes. They go up to 1 cc and they're leveled in increments of a tenth so that you can give very, very small amounts because chicks are tiny and that's what you want.
They also come in handy for big chickens. So there's just something you want to have on hand anyway.
With medicine droppers, sometimes you can get very small, like pediatric medicine droppers, either or both.
And the ones with the bent tip are really great. You can get it right next to the chick's beak because you're not going to treat these chicks the way you would a big chicken where you just open their beak. With the chicks, you kind of just drip it along the front edge and the chick will swallow it. You want cotton balls or another form of cotton.
Roll cotton.
Oh my God. Mostly for cleaning pasty butt, but you never know when you're going to need it.
When I worked in an animal hospital, I used roll cotton every single day, and I swear by it. You can buy it on Amazon. We need it on our storefront because you tear it off, and it works great for pasty butt. It works great for
cotton
cleaning.
Balls do too, though.
They're not the same to me. I guess from me using it, the roll cotton is so awesome.
Okay.
It's just my pick. You can try it if you like it. Let me know. But it's great. And you buy it on Amazon.
Now, this last one is crucial. You hear us talk about this when we're talking about sick chickens in general, but to have it on hand for a baby can be really important. So we're talking liquid food.
And you've probably heard us mention it a million times because it is gold.
Right. So there's omnivore care, critical care. Now that one's prescription, so you do have to get it from a veterinarian. I don't know why, but you do.
In the US, it is prescription.
Yeah.
In the UK, if you're listening to us, it is not.
You can get it over the
So
counter.
omnivore care, this is why we say have this relationship with your veterinarian.
Right.
This is something once you go to the vet, you can say to him or her, can I buy a small bag of this? And it's a powder that you add water to that turns into a liquid food that gives them every single nutrient that they need.
It really is unbeatable stuff. But we have 2 substitutes that are like second best. So first, this one's available on Amazon, KT Exact Hand Feeding Baby Bird Food.
Right.
And you would use that for tropical birds. I mean, it's formulated for avians. And the other one, I found one on Chewy, Higgins In Tune Hand Feeding for all baby birds.
Okay.
I would always go to the omnivore care first, but there's nothing wrong with either one of these. They're definitely like second and third choices.
Yeah. If you can't get to the vet, these are ones that you can buy over the counter. If you have a relationship with your veterinarian, omnivore care, ask for next time you go to buy a small bag of it and have it on hand always.
I think Unfortunately, not all vets carry it. But if you're seeing a serious avian vet, they will have it.
Or they'll be able to order it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, if you're going to message us and ask us or tell us that you have somebody who's ill and not doing well, these are the things we're going to tell you point blank when you message us also.
And I think I'm going to add just one more thing. It's something we both do. I got this advice from an old timer ages ago. And if you're having a little bit of trouble with pasty butt, so pasty butt usually has 3 main causes. The first is shipping stress.
Second is it's too hot.
The third is it's too cold.
Yep.
So the advice I got from this old-time chicken keeper was take a little bit of oatmeal. You want quick oats.
Because you want it to be fine.
And you like sort of crumble it up with your fingers and sprinkle it over their food. And it really helps to firm up their stool and helps get rid of the pasty butt.
And when you need to clean that pasty butt, you need to use roll cotton.
I've been cleaning pasty butt for 20 years with that roll cotton. In my world, the only thing you use roll cotton for is bandaging horse legs.
I use it for everything. I just like to get to Holly with this.
Oh my Lord. I'm not putting that damn roll cotton on there. Just use cotton balls.
Roll cotton.
Okay. So
try both of them and then message us which one you like more.
Oh my Lord.
Okay. That's what you do. If you have any other problems or questions, you can always DM us or email us your questions. We will do our best to help you. Sometimes you just need a veterinarian, to be honest with you.
Right.
But we will do our best to help you.
We'll help you any way we can. Even if that's just helping you find a vet.
Okay. So let's move on to
cracking the eggs.
Cracking those eggs. Now, this week on Cracking the Eggs, we're doing
spring garden stir fry with shrimp and eggs.
Yum, yum.
So good.
Yum.
This is a great way to make use of all of those eggs you're getting right now, as well as some of the seasonal vegetables we love so much, like asparagus, sugar snap peas, and garlic chives.
Yep.
You throw in some pre-cooked shrimp, and you have a meal worthy of company. We got all this stuff out of our gardens, but if you're not a gardener, you can get any of this at the grocery store or farmer's market.
It's fun to go to the farmer's market.
It is.
And it's fun to support your local farmers if you don't have it. So.
Right. But if you don't have a farmer's market
go to the
near
grocery
you,
store.
You can find all that in the grocery store. Exactly.
Okay, so let's go over the ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to start off with a 1/2 pound of pre-cooked shrimp, tailed and deveined, a pound of asparagus. You want to wash it and snap them off till they're about 1 inch or so. A 1/2 pound of sugar snap peas, trimmed, strings removed, because you don't want those strings getting in your teeth.
No.
2 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon of vegetable or peanut oil, divided. A 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, divided. A 1/2 teaspoon of ground white pepper, divided. Divided is the key here.
Yeah, because you're going to use them in 2 places.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just seemed cumbersome to write it out like a quarter for this, a quarter for this.
Here you go. A quarter here, a quarter there.
Yeah.
Here's your eggs. 4 large eggs, or kind of however many you want to put in there.
Exactly.
You know, if you want more, do more.
You can.
A tablespoon of milk or plant milk. A 1/2 cup of your garlic chives. They're also known as Chinese chives. You're going to roughly slice them or chop them into 1/2 to 1 inch pieces. 2 medium cloves of garlic minced, and some fresh ginger minced, usually about a teaspoon or so.
Yep. First thing you're going to do is put those eggs in a bowl with that splash of milk. You're going to use 1/2 the white pepper and 1/2 of the regular salt. Whisk that all together and set it aside. You're going to heat a tablespoon of the oil in a wok or a large skillet. You're going to add your asparagus, your snap peas. You're going to stir fry them for 2 to 3 minutes till they start to get bright.
Yep.
You're going to add the garlic chives, the chopped garlic, the ginger, and then the other 1/2 of the white pepper and the salt. You're going to stir fry that until the chives start to wilt. The veggies are going to be bright green and just cook through. Then you're going to put all that on a plate or a bowl and you're going to set it aside. Put the rest of the oil in the wok or the skillet. Add those eggs. Usually in about 30 seconds, they start to cook. They start to firm up.
It's quick if you're using a wok for sure.
Very quick. You're going to use a spatula or wooden spoon to run through and set the eggs. You're going to cook, continuing to run the spatula through to create curds.
Right.
You're going to stop while the eggs are still visibly creamy. You don't want them overcooked.
No.
You're going to add the shrimp and all the chive veggie mixture back. You're going to stir it together till it's lightly blended. The eggs will cook the rest of the way. Serve it right away.
And enjoy it.
Enjoy.
You're going to love it. Now, keep in mind, there's no rice in here. It's just eggs and veggies.
Yeah. You can put it over rice or even rice noodles if you want to.
You could, but you could just eat it as is.
Absolutely.
Because you got all your protein and your veg right there. So try it. You might like it. Send us pictures if you do. We'd love to see it. Okay, so let's move on to retail therapy. Retail therapy. Yeah. Okay, so this week's retail therapy is something a little bit different. We're doing a rescue spotlight instead, and we talk with Judy over at Snead's Sanctuary Farmhouse. Here's our interview with Judy. Enjoy. Judy, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. It is beautiful here in Alabama.
It is a beautiful day. It's here in Maryland. It's awesome today, too.
Judy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Judy Snead, and again, I'm with Snead's Farmhouse Sanctuary in Coleman, Alabama. I started Snead's Farmhouse approximately 4 years ago. It has developed into something that I could never even imagine it being. It's just been absolutely amazing. 4 years ago, we moved to Coleman and I did not know a soul. I have never thought about being a chicken person, never thought about I didn't grow up in the country. I grew up in the middle of the city. And we moved here and I didn't know anyone. And when we moved here, there was a chicken coop already on the property.
Okay.
Nice.
So my husband said, why don't we get some chickens? And I said, what do I want a chicken for?
Well, that sounds like a husband you should keep
He's a
forever.
keeper.
Yeah, if he was the one that said get the chickens, you got to keep that husband forever. That's for sure.
And I said, what do I want a chicken for? And he said, well, we could have some fresh farm eggs. That's where it started. Anyway, it got to be a running joke, but I took him up on it. So I'm very glad to be here. I had one person that said, Judy, let me help you. And so I went to her house. I bought an incubator. She gave me eggs and I began to incubate. And y'all, I was so bit by the chicken bug that day.
Yeah. For the love of chickens that you started this whole thing, they were your gateway animal. I'm taking it. They were the first animal that you got that started the farm sanctuary. Tell us a little bit about how the sanctuary started and the rescue work started.
When I started getting more animals, it seems like when you have a farm, people come to you, hey, I've got this goat that my kids are not playing with anymore. Will you take it? You know what I'm talking about? Like people, when you have a farm, people message you all the time wanting to give you animals. And so that began to happen. First, the goats were given to me and animals were starting to be given to me. And that's when I started the Facebook page because I was getting all these animals and being a new animal person, it was almost like I was a first-time mom and I was posting 5,000 pictures of me and people started seeing me with all these animals and they began to ask questions and stuff. And then the more I posted, the more people were wanting me to rescue animals. That's where it kind of all began. And I began in my area, I was trying to I'm a nonprofit.
I was just about to ask that question. That was my next part of this rescue question are you a nonprofit? And you answered it. Way to go.
Nonprofit. I'm a 501c3 farm, and I am always looking for ways to give back. I do a lot of volunteer work in my community with the schools, the libraries, and so forth. And there was this local lake in my community that was needing, well, they didn't realize they were needing help with injured ducks. And so I began to find that was a way for me to plug in with my community is to help these injured ducks. So I began to go to Sportsman's Lake is the name of the lake. And every time a duck got injured, I would go and take it to the vet. I would rehabilitate it and find it a home. And so that's where the whole rescue came in per se. But, there's all different kinds of rescues. It's an injured animal. Sometimes it's my kids won't play with it anymore. Or sometimes it's the owner's passed away. So there's all different types of rescues. With these, it was the injured ducks. And so I began to go and rehabilitate the ducks.
I was just going to say, Judy, are these wild ducks or are these domestic ducks that were dumped at the pond?
They were dumped.
That's horrible. Oh, my goodness. I can't stand hearing that stuff. That just bothers me so much.
I am doing my best to spread awareness in my community. And I want you to know that I'll just give you one example. I have 23 field trips in May. Now, how many people do you think are in front of me that I can talk about dumping ducks?
Yeah.
And I am my best to spread awareness because there is approximately 60 domesticated ducks on this lake.
Wow. That's crazy.
It saddens my heart.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like the duck situation's kind of like the rooster situation.
It is.
Yeah.
People get these ducks and roosters and then they don't know where to go. Some of the things we hear that happens to roosters just saddens our hearts so much. It's the same thing with the ducks. They think, okay, let's just take a duck to a pond and let them live out. But they're domesticated at that point. It's a little more difficult.
I think what was the biggest struggle with me is I had gone to our commissioners to begin to talk about the ducks at the lake and how they were getting neglected because they weren't getting fed. It was awful. I fed them the whole winter months every single day. And then I was asked to stop feeding them. But the thing is, as an animal person, no matter what animal that you're in love with, there is always so many needs that need to be met, like with the roosters and with the ducks. And like people think they go to Tractor Supply, let's just say, don't mean to pick on Tractor Supply, but they get ducks not really knowing what they're getting. And they get like jumbo pecans.
Yeah.
And people understand what a jumbo pecan is. And then they get it and they realize they're messy and they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So they dump it on the lake. And then
so how many ducks do you have now at the sanctuary?
I have 12 right now. There's 3 that is in a rehab unit. One of them has lost her leg, and it's from someone walking their dog off the leash in a local park.
Oh,
that's so sad.
Are most of them pecans? Are most of what you're getting pecans?
A lot of them are. They're the jumbo pecans. And jumbo pecans, like when you think of a restaurant, a pecan restaurant, that is a duck that's bred for food,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the equivalent of a Cornish roaster. Yeah.
And people get them not understanding what they're getting. And then they go duck lake and they start having leg and feet injuries because they're massive.
Yep.
Their longevity of life is not long and they don't understand what they're doing, but they're putting a death sentence on every time you dump a duck.
Absolutely.
That's so sad. Well, thank you for doing what you do and going to the pond and helping these ducks because you're one of the good people out there that are helping them for sure. It's just a matter of educating and getting the message out to people that only take on what you can take care of, right? So if you're set up for ducks, get the ducks. If you don't know what you're going to do with them, that's the big thing. We just had Easter, right? Is they're not basket fillers. Don't go get a duck and think, or a chicken and think it's a quick thing. They're lifelong commitment for sure. Right. So, but thank you.
Really, we didn't know that you were doing work with ducks, and that's really fantastic. But like we were saying before, you have the ability to educate. So we see from your website that you do a lot of educational programs. How did that come about?
I never dreamt of having field trips. I never thought about having to expand my driveway to get buses in here. I've never sent one email to a school. Like it's been just like word of mouth about Snead's Farmhouse. I've been very blessed. And when I started getting schools to come here, I was like, okay, I'm a new farm person. Like, what am I going to teach these kids? And so what I began to notice is that in today's world, soft skills are not really taught to kids. And I don't just have kid field trips. I have seniors.
That's nice.
But what I began to teach them is how my animals are not separated by fence. They all live together. So when people come to my farm, that's what I teach, is how we all look different. We all may have a different language. We all may have different skin color. We may be raised different. We may have different, political beliefs. But you know what? Our job taught by my animals is that we can all get along, which is what they do because they all look different and talk different, but they all are friends. And so what I began to notice is to teach kids how my animals live in harmony on my farm. And that's where I really focus, is more on soft skills.
Nice. So about how many animals are on your sanctuary?
People ask that and I'm like, I need to come out here and count one day.
Just approximately.
I have approximately 85 to 100 chickens, 12 ducks, 3 peacocks, 4 turkeys, 2 cows, mini cows, a donkey, 3 pigs, 2 sheep, 3 alpacas, about 8 rabbits, a tortoise,
Nice.
a little bit of it all.
Can the chicken ladies come over for a field trip?
Please. I'd love to meet y'all in person.
We'll pull up with a big bus, say the chicken lady bus, and we'll come and visit all the animals. You wouldn't be able to get rid of us with all those animals for a few days. You know, I'd have to go through and play with everybody.
I'm an alpaca lady from way back. I've kept llamas and alpacas for 20 years. And in fact, right before we started this interview, I was shearing one of my alpacas.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I had a cria and I delivered the cria.
Oh my goodness. They're
So
very
your
special animals.
Your life is never boring over there because you always have something going on with somebody and they bring love. It fills your heart. So that's really a good thing.
What's funny, it seems like each week I get to add something to my resume.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bet with
Like
all of them.
you learn skills on the fly. Definitely.
Okay. So do you have any exciting up and coming projects in the near future?
Yes. I am in the process of putting together an education center.
Nice.
And, in that education center, I'm going to be teaching how to incubate eggs and what happens in that process. I will be able to house because I have Angora wool rabbits, so they can't live outdoors. I'm going to be able to get air conditioning and heat in that building and be able to house them. And then my tortoise during the winter, he has to be under heat. So he'll have a place to live. And then I'm sort of an entertainer. My dream was to live in New York and dance on Broadway.
Okay.
It didn't happen.
Instead, you're dancing with those animals every day. You're like, come on, la da 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 da, yeah.
When people come to my farm to tour or come for a field trip, I've written a children's book about how my farm got started. It's a really cute story. And I began to live my life like I'm in New York on Broadway. And I do this acting about how my farm got started. So I'm building a stage inside the education center. So
Nice.
I educate kids on trying something new because you never know what's going to happen.
If you start even with the children from school, then they go home and they even spread it to their parents at home. This is what I learned today. Teaching the young is so important. And to get to them through fun things like animals, like acting on a stage, you'll really get through to them. And it's a good thing. More power to you. So is your stage and your building going to be on your farm ground or is it going to be a different area?
It's going to be on my farm.
Nice.
My husband is in the process of building him a new shop, and I'm taking over his old shop, and we're going to turn it into a barn style building. That way, during the winter, I can still do education even when it's cold, and we'll have somewhere to go indoors.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really fantastic. That's wonderful. So before we let you go, we're going to ask you the question that we ask all of our guests, the most unfair question of all, and you are allowed to give more than one answer. And that is, what is your favorite breed of chicken?
By far, Polish.
Polish.
Is my favorite breed. My favorite color is Tolbut.
Okay.
I must have at least 20, 25 hens.
Wow.
You know how chicken people, we get that chicken math and it's I hatch them and then people will go, hey, do you have any Tolbuts for sale? And I'm like, no. And my husband's like, Judy, you have 30 in the brood.
It's true. You have to keep a large amount of them for yourself. I get this. I understand this.
So glad to be talking to chicken people.
We are 1,000,000% chicken people.
Yes.
We just want to say thank you so much for spending this afternoon talking with us and telling us about your amazing rescue work. We're definitely going to come visit you in Alabama and come visit the sanctuary, that's for sure. But thank you. It was so great to meet you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, anytime. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Judy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. We just want to thank Judy one more time for coming on the show, telling us about her rescue efforts. You can find a link to Judy's rescue in our show notes.
Okay, so we should tell everybody what we're going to be talking about next week.
Next week is a very special episode.
You don't want to miss this.
We are profiling the Polish,
One of my favorites.
also known as the Poland in other countries. For our main topic, we are interviewing the wonderful Jane Howarth from British Hen Welfare Trust, and this time we're joined by Gaynor Davies.
Yeah, we touch base with Jane and see where she is and what's going on.
Cracking the eggs, we're making a really delicious Victoria sponge cake.
It's going to be yummy.
And for retail therapy, we are reviewing Exceptional Skincare. These are fantastic eggshell facial masks.
They're awesome, and you don't want to miss this.
It's fantastic stuff.
Okay, so what should we tell everybody to do until next week?
Hug your chickens.
Every day and kiss them too. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to see more of us, please follow us on Instagram at Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. If you'd like to help us grow the podcast, please leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/Coffee with the Chicken Ladies. Thanks for listening.